Hey, what's up, guys? So, I know you guys have seen the Switch 2 news and how expensive these games are. About $90 for just a cartridge. Now, when I was a kid, there was this game Rock Band that you all know that was like $120, $140 for the entire bundle, I believe it was, around that range. But it had a reason to have that. There were like four different controllers that were in that box, and for $90 I think you would get like, or 100, you get the guitar bundle that had the guitar controller with it. But basically now we're going to $90 per just one cartridge, and I think Nintendo is setting a dangerous precedent for gaming. And honestly, this is becoming the new norm, because who here has seen any $60 games? I mean, I don't play games that often. I mean, I know I have a channel where I talk about older games and games that I like and games that I enjoyed and stuff. That channel's gotten some engagement, and I'm thankful for all of that. But the future of gaming is looking pretty grim. And honestly, I'm going to say the unpopular thing that no one wants to hear. Maybe it's for the best. Now, before you guys get upset, hear me out, because I'm a guy who grew up in quote-unquote gaming's golden age. We had The Force Unleashed, one of my favorite Star Wars games of all time. We had Dead Rising, which was one of my favorite trilogies. They even did the deluxe remastered version that just came out recently. And, well, guess what? I actually enjoyed it. And you know what? It was like $50 for a game being remastered. I mean, obviously, it wasn't new, but it was an old game that had gotten a few tune-ups, and it was at a reasonable price. Everything right now, especially with someone who enjoys Game Pass, who the only reason I play Call of Duty Black Ops 6 now is because it was on the Game Pass for free. I'm realizing the future is more geared towards the older games, because I'm seeing like the newer models of the UFC games come out and there's more exploits. It just kind of seems like the games aren't shown as much love as they used to, and sometimes they think just throwing more models at it can cut it. Like, I was on my way home, so I stopped by a Circle K to get a slushie because it was a Friday, and this one kid that worked behind the counter, nice guy, we were talking, but he was trying to rationalize to himself that Mario Kart is now worth $90 because it's considered open world or something like that. I don't really know too much about Mario Kart, but if everything he's telling me is true, there were a lot of different games of Mario Kart that came out over my lifetime, even though I don't play that game, but it's just common knowledge that they've had a lot of releases. Why wasn't this brought to the forefront a long time ago? This is something that could have been done a while ago, and it's not incentive enough to try to put us through this financial turmoil. Financial turmoil. Man, I went into like a Joker voice for a minute while I said that. But anyway, here's the crazy part is that although I grew up in that golden era of gaming, a good example of what I'm about to say is Grand Theft Auto Online. How many years did I spend accumulating a bunch of digital wealth that I am never going to spend out here in the real world? A lot of time that I could have used towards the hobbies that I have nowadays has now gone out the window. And I'm realizing how much time can pass you by when you do play a game. And you know what? That's the thing. Video games are super fun. Don't get me wrong. I love them. But, I know a long time ago there was this Joe Rogan episode where he went viral because he talked about video games being too fun, and a lot of people got in an uproar. I hate to say it, but no matter what you think about Joe Rogan today, he was kind of right. It's because it sucks you in, and then there goes your time. Now, obviously, you don't have to be a world champion in jiu-jitsu in your spare time, but like, for a matter of fact, I've been playing guitar, and I've been picking up piano and getting back into just playing musical instruments and stuff like that, and hopping on the Fruity Loop software just because. And, even though I'm not like aiming to be the next Marshmallow, it just kind of feels like I get that personal fulfillment. Lifting weights, I get more of a personal fulfillment, especially in this world where you seem like we're all kind of running on a treadmill and we're at a dead end, and we don't really feel like a lot of us can go anywhere unless we really think outside of the box. Maybe video games were the cheese that led us mice into this maze that now we have to kind of wake up from the illusion and find our way out of it. And maybe this $90 hike up is probably what we need to smack us awake. Because let me tell you another side story that there are a couple kids who I've been mentoring in the guitar that I at least know about. Like, I'm showing them a couple things. And the one thing I always tell them is you guys are a little bit younger than me. So you guys have like 10 years of youth on me. And one thing I can say is don't waste those 10 years. And my advice is passing on, because now they're doing HVAC apprenticeships. They're finishing their high school online while they do these apprenticeships. They're basically picking up working in trades and figuring out ways to make money early. And I'd rather see them do that than waste all this time on Call of Duty. Now, don't get me wrong. A Saturday night with the boys playing Call of Duty or playing something else isn't necessarily a negative. You always have to unplug and have fun every now and again. Otherwise, if you just work, what's the point? But I could at least look back and say, yeah, although I had a lot of fun times playing these games, and sometimes these games helped me through some of the darkest hours in my life, video games was a bit of an escapism because my childhood was a little rocky. I could have channeled that energy into something else that probably would have gotten me a little bit further than I actually am in life. And, even if you could afford that $90, is that a principle you want to set for consumers? Because the thing is about consumers is the companies need them. I think we're losing sight of that the companies need the consumer, and the consumer needs the companies to supply the products that they buy. And, I'm not really a political activist, but I am for healthy give and take, And this kind of gouge that it is, and I'm calling it a gouge because it is what it is. It's a gouge. I think that this is wrong, and it's a dangerous slope to go by. And video games are a release for a lot of people, unfortunately. Although all the reasons I give why I'm turning away from those, or why I think we should probably wake up from them, they are a release. And I don't know how this breakaway from the digital realm is going to necessarily go, how many people are going to be willing to let go, if you know what I'm saying. But whether you're content with the golden age of gaming ending or not, it's crazy to think that this $90 hike is the rude awakening that is going to not necessarily be at peace for as many people as it is for me right now. But I'm just saying, I don't want to be part of that problem. I don't want to feed into what I believe is honestly going to be the problem with this, because before we know it, we're going to have to spend $200 for a game and then $1,000 for a console in the future. In a day where our economy is already crumbling and the future just kind of seems a little bleak for a lot of people. So I'm just saying that's why I'm not even buying this Switch 2 right now, because I don't want to give a statistic that's going to incentivize Nintendo to treat its worldwide player basis like this. We've gone way too long with Nintendo, and honestly, man, it's crazy that this was the game that supplied me. This is the game company that supplied me with Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, which was my first Zelda game, my first Nintendo game that I ever played, and I remember having very fond memories of that game when I was a kid, and it was almost like an instant connection with Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, like the big three of consoles, and now this is how they treat us 20-something years later. It's almost like a marriage that's been a long time, and now it's already gone sour. It started really great, and they were a great partner. Now it's all kind of dissolved, and where are we? The light is sucked out of our eyes, but, it just comes to show you that the things that really harm you are the ones that take their time and boil us, a little bit by little bit until we're kind of in a corner. But, that's what I got to say, man. And I just hope that this is an awakening point for a lot of people. But that's all I got to say. I'm personally kind of glad it's gotten this bad. I know it sounds cynical and messed up to a lot of people, but yeah, I have to go live my real life because honestly, it just kind of seems like this is another pillar of the gaming temple coming to a collapse, and it's only a matter of time before the whole roof comes down, in my honest opinion. It is until I see something that shows me different. But, if we could get more game companies like Capcom doing Dead Rising Deluxe Edition, where they're actually looking after the consumer base and not overpricing us, that would be a step in the right direction. But until then, if I am going to play games, I'm probably going to be going back in time and going back in a time machine to when it all made sense. And that's probably that. But I will see you guys on the next one. Like I said, just take it with whatever it is you're going to take it with. Take this video with whatever grain of salt or whatever seriousness you want to. But I'm just saying this is where I'm going with this. But see you on the next one. Happy gaming. Stay healthy. Peace out. And, well, cheers.